Um, well, it was 8:15 p.m. and I was getting in the shower and I got a text that my decision actually had to be done by 9 p.m. Eastern time, not 12 p.m. So therefore, I had 45 minutes to decide what I was gonna do, and I thought I had a lot more time than that. So I took a quick shower, ate something, decided I would make this decision on a full stomach, and went on a walk with my brother and my mom. And it was close to 9, and we sat down on a bench right near the hotel. And Eddie was actually freaking out a little bit more than I was. He was with his friends, and he had texted me and said, "Sabrina, I need to see you. I'm freaking out." So I was like, "All right, we're at a bench. Come meet us." And he was like, "Do what your heart tells you. I know this is hard. It's a hard decision for you. It's always been your goal to play professionally. But I want you to do what makes you happy. I'm going to stand behind you, whatever you do." And then there's kind of just a moment of silence. And I said, "I'm staying." And that was kind of it. My mom, my brother were crying. I was crying. And I was like, "I'm staying. Like, that's what I want to do." And so called my coaches, told my team first, of course, my coaches first. Then I realized that there was an article that was out that I was leaving. And so I had to make sure that I posted what I had to on social media before I continued to get all these texts about congratulating me for leaving and before scaring my coaches. So that's basically what happened in that 45 minutes.
How did the players for the piece come together as far as timetable?
They literally called me at like 8. And they just said that they wanted to do a story. I told them I wasn't 100% sure with what my decision was going to be, but I was going to write the story as if I had been staying. And so I told them, obviously, if I wasn't going to stay, to not post that story. And so they had done it, and we did it in like 15 minutes. I told the story, and they ended up typing it and sent it to me. I looked over it, and I added and removed some of the pieces that I wanted to, and then it was posted.
For both of you, I mean, it's good news, bad news. Good news is it made Final Four. Bad news is that meant you only had 24 hours to finalize that. Just how stressful was that? Can both of you have thoughts on kind of the nature of that time frame becoming a reality for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's horrible that a student athlete only gets 24 hours to make one of the biggest decisions of their lives. You really don't have enough time to process what you want to do until after your season's over, and 24 hours is not enough. And so, probably the most stressed I've been in a very, very long time with that decision. Obviously, you can't really think about it while you're playing because you're focused on the other teams. And I know it sounds cliche, but you really are not focused on that in the midst of being in a Final Four, trying to compete for a national championship. And so I really only had a few hours to really think about what I was going to do, especially after a loss like that, when that's really what I was thinking about, after that loss. And so I think that there needs to be more time. I think the draft can be pushed back a few more days, and at least the student athletes can get home and talk with their families and get a few days after a win or a loss to make that decision. But I made a decision that was best for me. So.
Were you caught off guard by that article that came out saying that you were leaving? I mean, do you know where that came from? What happened?
No, Jody had called me, and all she said was, "Did you lie to me?" And I said, "What?" And she said, "Are you on social media right now?" And I said, "No, but my phone's blowing up." And she said, "Go check social media," and then hung up. And so I checked social media, and I was like, "Oh my gosh," that it says breaking news. I didn't talk to any coaches. I didn't talk to any agents. I didn't talk to any media outlets for them to have posted that. So I wasn't really sure why that was posted.
I've got some background on that I'll
Yeah.
cover when she's done.
He got me. But they had reached out and apologized for doing so. So I didn't really care too much.
Academically, how much do you have left in your senior year in that regard?
I graduate in June, and I'll be starting a master's program in September. Marketing, advertising, and brand management.
So you'll have some team goals.
Her own brand management. How's that?
You're going to have some team goals, obviously. How can you be a better player
I mean, in absolutely every aspect. We're going to be obviously really, really good next year. A good returning group. set the bar high from the beginning. We're not going to take any of those losses that we took last year to UCLA, to Stanford. We're not going to go down that road next year, especially it being me and Ruthie's last year together, and make the most out of every game, every practice, because it does go by really quickly, and we're already seniors and on a mission to win a national championship, and everything's going to be super important. So starting from that first day that we start workouts, hopefully in a couple weeks, it's going to be taken seriously, and make sure that the team is held to a super high standard.
I know you said you would have liked more time than the 24 hours. What kind of things would you like to think about, or context would you like to have made during the more expanded time frame to make a decision?
I mean, I don't think I would have made it a different decision, but I just think having more time to sit down, talk to my family, really, really think about what I was going to do would have been helpful. Knowing me, I probably still would have made the decision within the 45 minutes that I was allotted. But I would have enjoyed more time of just some sort of relaxation. I mean, I just got out of the game. I was already getting bombarded with questions about what I was going to do. Of course, I was upset about the loss. And so I didn't really want that to affect my team and them thinking that I was more, focused on what I was going to do next year than them. And so I think I would have enjoyed at least another day. But it ultimately doesn't matter. I made the best decision.
How far did your mind go down the path of what, had you gone professional? What exactly that picture looked like? Beyond the draft happens in 48 hours, 24 from now, and the money that's there. But did overseas and money, endorsement, I mean, did all these things start going into your mind? And how far down that road did you really get mentally, considering?
I mean, I don't really know the logistics of all that stuff. I didn't really look too much into it. My high school coach took care of a lot of that stuff, but of course, I had put everything into consideration. But when I told myself, I had asked myself if that's what I was going to do, and I kind of put myself in that scenario of talking to my coaches and my team and telling them that I was going to leave. There was a hole in my stomach, and it just didn't feel right. And so at that moment, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to talk myself into leaving, and that's when ultimately I made my decision that I still had some stuff that I had to take care of, and I dedicated 4 years to this team, to my coaches, and I needed to do that.
The theme of the story was unfinished business, given how the season ended this year in Tampa. Do you think it would have been a different decision, or at least you would have approached the decision differently had you guys still been playing and gone to the final and maybe won that final this year?
I mean, the title might have been different, but ultimately, I would have wanted to come back for another one. So I think, the story would have been similar. I would have wanted to come back. We'll be a new team next year. We're going to be losing 2 great pieces, but we're going to be adding a lot of great pieces to an already great puzzle. And so I think that, the caption or the title might have been different, but the goals that I'm going to be setting for myself and for my team are going to be exactly the same. I would have wanted to go win another one.
Sabrina, both you and Justin, you understand that Herbert decided you're both coming back to Oregon. What do you think that says about being a student athlete here and playing for a school like this?
I mean, it speaks volume about the University of Oregon and athletics, and how important it is for us as student athletes to represent Oregon. He's, of course, in a different position that I am. He's turned down millions of dollars to come back to Oregon. And so I think that speaks volume about how much he cares about his team there, about what they're building and how good they're going to be next year, and his commitment and dedication to Coach Cristobal and their staff. But I think, both of us made great decisions to come back to school and represent Oregon in the best way that we can.
That brings me to my next question. You used your platform a lot this spring to talk about women in sports. Do you think if the WNBA maybe incentivized women a little bit more than they do men? I mean, the cap for women is what, $100,000, and then boatloads more than that. Do you think if women were paid just as much as the men, there would be more of an incentive to leave?
Well, of course, I mean, a lot of athletes are money driven. A lot of people are money driven. That's why a lot of people do leave early. If men were paid as much as we are, I guarantee you a lot of them would be staying in school and getting an education, because their degree would probably take them to greater places than the money that they would be receiving. But I wasn't really driven by money. That's not what my goals were. That's why I didn't really think too much about the salary and how much money I would be getting. Hopefully, with the degree and the masters that I'm going to be trying to get, that will take care of itself.
You
How much
watch
team
the,
that you guys have next year, how much does that factor in knowing the group that's back?
Everything. I dedicated a lot of what I did this year to try and get my team ready, try and get myself ready. And I want to play with Niara. I want to play with Taylor Moore. I want to play with a lot of those freshmen coming in. I want another year with Satu and Ruthie and Aaron. And so that relationship and bond that I grew with them, I want to grow it more. And so I think that played a huge role in my decision to stay and my dedication to them and to this coaching staff.
Consecutive years now, you've lost to the eventual national champion. I guess, what do you learn from those games? Obviously, you're playing a championship caliber team. What have you taken away from those experiences?
I mean, we have to see where we went wrong in those games, and we have to improve on that. And so, in that Baylor game, and that Notre Dame game, and in that UConn game the year before, we learned a lot, and we bounced back really well from all of those losses. And so, I mean, next year is going to be scary.
in that regard, did you watch the Baylor Notre Dame game, and considering that you got edged by Baylor, were you rooting for them?
I didn't really care who won because it wasn't us. But I was happy in the way that the game turned out. I mean, especially Lauren Cox going down. I've played with her the last 3 years at USA Basketball. I've played with Kalani Brown, and so they've been good friends and really great teammates to me. And so I was rooting for them. I was rooting for Notre Dame. Just wanted the best team to win, and I was happy to see that Baylor was able to pull one out.
Because both you, your brother, your mother all mentioned the insurance aspect. Has there been a decision for that, discussion about that over the last few days?
No, I don't really know, to be honest. I'm not really the one that's going to be in charge of that. I think Kelly can speak more on it. My high school coach is taking care of a lot of that stuff, and so he's been really great in not relaying a lot of that stuff to me and not letting it get in the way of what my goals and what my vision was while I was playing. But at the end of the day, I was not doing this for the money, for the insurance aspect of things. I was doing it for a greater deal.
Sabrina, the part about Kobe Bryant breaking down your game, players should seem to be a pretty key and cool part for you. When you guys met him in Los Angeles, he didn't give any hints that he was going to break down your game at all.
No, I mean, we didn't really talk too much individually. He spoke to our team as a whole. We took pictures with his daughter and her teammates that were there. So I didn't know that he was planning on doing that or had thought of it. So that was why it had caught me by surprise.
Anything else for Sabrina?